Blessed summer season, everybody, and Tony here with my review of Massenet's Werther, which is the concert version that I saw at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. The conductor was Enrique Mazzolla, the children's chorus master was Christian Lindhorst, and the assistant director was Feline Tietzel. This concert version of Massenet's Werther at the Deutsche Oper Berlin is really special because this marked Dietmar Schwartz's retirement after serving several years as the Deutsche Oper Berlin's general manager. On top of that, this also marked Enrique Mazzolla's 16th season where he served as a guest conductor. So this was a very special time for both Herr Schwartz and Maestro Mazzolla, but it was also the singing that I was really excited to witness because this also starred Jonathan Tetelman as Werther and Aigul Akhmetshina as Charlotte. Starting off with Jonathan Tetelman, I saw him 2 years ago as Mario Cavaradossi from Puccini's Tosca, also at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, and while I thought that his rendition of Cavaradossi was good, I thought that there were moments where it was a bit too heavy for him. Hearing him as Werther made me thoroughly convinced that his natural full lyric tenor voice was way more apt for the title role of Werther. He sang with sensitivity, he sang with sufficient virility, and he had a youthfully pleasant tone that made him absolutely dashing to listen to, let alone watch on stage. Granted, while there have been a lot of the greater Werthers of the past, ranging from Giacinto Prandelli all the way up to Beniamino Gigli, or even that of Nicolai Gedda and Alfredo Kraus, Jonathan Tetelman was still a fine singing actor who made his voice thoroughly ring throughout the theater, complete with a handsome stage presence, which made him also renowned for not only roles such as Werther, but I would also argue Rodolfo from Puccini's La Bohème. He really had the physique du rôle, especially from the lyric tenor Fach. And with his performance as Werther, it was certainly no exception. His rendition of the arias Ô nature pleine de grâce, and how he was able to throw himself in his rendition of Pourquoi me réveiller was absolutely brilliant. He also managed to tackle his high notes with sufficient clarion power and a whole lot of commitment. So I really have to salute Jonathan Tetelman for taking great advantage of his natural full lyric tenor voice and making his voice thoroughly ring throughout the theater, complete with pure abandon and complete with a whole lot of artistic dedication, virility, and a whole lot of chutzpah to back him up so superbly as Werther. Aigul Akhmetshina struck again with her creamy toned, rich, velvety, and silky timbre that made her thoroughly ideal as Charlotte. That type of youthfulness to her voice made her wonderfully listenable and brilliant. I should know because barely 1 or 2 years ago, I saw and heard her as Carmen from Bizet's Carmen, also at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. And Aigul Akhmetshina continues to grow with artistry, charisma, and sheer elegance. And those are the aspects that I thought were her greatest assets and that she worked really well with. She was able to imbue Charlotte with ladylike elegance and a whole lot of charisma that I was practically having my eyes transfixed to everything that she accomplished. Her voice continues to be thoroughly pleasing to the ear, especially especially when she hit those high notes with pure abandon and abundant clarity, thus exercising dedication to her craft as well as brilliance from bottom to top. Sure, I do feel that she needs to continue working on her coordinated chest tones, let alone chest tones, because while she might have them on most occasions, there were some occasions in which there was a little bit of hollowness working against her, and some moments where I thought that her head voice, chest voice coordination was rather collapsed, in stark comparison to the complete packages found in Giulietta Simeonato, Suzanne Guyol, Fiorenza Cossotto, and even Frederica von Stade, who, although is admittedly more soprano-ish as Charlotte, she still had a fascinating technique. And speaking of fascinating technique, as well as fabulous and pristine technique, Agnes Balza has always been the complete package when singing Charlotte, making great use of her head voice and chest voice coordination, and also ensuring that her technique remains as rock solid as ever. Nevertheless, I still found Aigul Akhmetshina thoroughly awesome as Charlotte, thanks to her charisma, thanks to her elegance, and also thanks to her mezzo-soprano voice that is creamy and youthful, as well as intimately sweet to listen to, although it could use a lot more beefiness and chestiness in certain areas, especially where the low notes are concerned. I still hope that she continues to develop her technique in the best possible way, and here's also hoping that she continues to grow from strength to strength. After all, Aigul Akhmetshina has also found herself singing more dramatic mezzo roles, such as Dalila from Sans Séance Dalila. The future definitely continues to look so bright for Aigul Akhmetshina, to the point where I will continue to root for her and all of her endeavors. Dean Murphy has actually astounded me as Albert. He continues to grow with virility and a whole lot of roundness and richness in his cavalier baritone voice. This is a gentleman that I've always appreciated in terms of the diligence, determination, dedication, and strength he mustered as Albert. There was not one vocal fault whatsoever, and at times his voice reminded me of an amalgamation of Matteo Manuguera and Cheryl Milnes. That sharp brilliance that managed to grow with time and effort made Dean Murphy thoroughly amazing to witness. He was able to give it his all as a dashing singing actor, and I could never ever have enough of listening to how much Dean Murphy was able to pour out his voice so handsomely that I was practically transfixed. Speaking of being practically transfixed, I continue to be just as enthralled with Lilith Daftian's gorgeously lovely and youthfully vibrant light lyric / lyric coloratura soprano voice being put to fabulous use as Sophie. She not only has that lovely physique du rôle, which has also made her thoroughly ideal for young ingenues, let alone young heroines, but the tone, the clarity, and her trademark silvery precision have all made her thoroughly amazing to listen to. There was no vocal faults whatsoever. Her voice continues to grow in cleanliness and clarity, and that silvery timbre continues to make Lilith Daftian someone worth listening to every single time. Michael Bachtatze does have a handsome and fine stage presence as the bailiff or Le Bailli, although I do prefer a bass baritone or a basso cantante singing this role. That is not to discredit Michael Bachtatze's overall dedication to his craft. he is still a dashing singing actor. He was still able to deliver the goods in terms of what he was able to present, even though his voice might still be an acquired taste, at least in my opinion. But Michael Baghdad's trademark handsome stage presence continues to be a welcome treat, and his unique roundness can also make him absolutely fine for this fatherly character. Gerard Ferreras was thoroughly amazing as Johann, all thanks to how he was able to make his round, resonant, and rich bass baritone / basso cantante voice radiate and resonate with a whole lot of virility and sheen. Chance-Jonas O'Toole's Schmidt was able to be thoroughly characterful and absolutely brilliant in its own special way, as he made fabulous use of that light character tenor voice to bring out the best in Schmidt. Jörg Schörner was an absolute delight as Brühlmann, thus making his trademark character tenor voice radiate throughout all the registers, whether it be the high notes or the low notes. He was still able to shine so superbly, and Karis Tucker's trademark creamy tone made her thoroughly lovely as Kitchen. And here's also hoping that Miss Tucker also tackles Charlotte one day. Overall, the singing was absolutely brilliant from everybody. Jonathan Tetelman definitely stole the show as the titular hero Werther, all thanks to his gleaming top notes, that handsome stage presence, and his overall charisma as a singing actor who really embodied Werther's youthful ardor and passion, and his tendency to get jealous, but with really tragic consequences, and do so in a way that made his character all the more believable and watchable to witness. Aigul Akhmetshina continues to show strength, diligence, and dedication as Charlotte, all thanks to her trademark creamy mezzo-soprano voice, and I will still encourage her to keep on developing her chest tones. Dean Murphy continues to increase with virility, roundness, and richness and strength as Albert. Lilith Daftian was silvery and sweet as Sophie. Michael Baghdad's was thoroughly handsome in stage presence as the bailiff. Gerard Ferreras was round and rich as Johann. Chance-Jonas O'Toole was characterful as Schmidt. Jörg Schörner was thoroughly brilliant and was absolutely charismatic as Brühlmann. And Karis Tucker, who I would love to see her singing Charlotte one day, managed to strike a fine impression as Kätzchen. Each of these singers had something brilliant to offer, and they did their roles with a whole lot of laudability and a whole lot of awesomeness from beginning to end. The conducting done by Enrique Mazzolla was thoroughly nuanced and absolutely gorgeous and precise. There was not one sour note that I found out from his conducting style. He kept everybody together. The orchestra managed to play so beautifully, especially in the more tender moments, and was able to strike up some excitement, although there were occasions in which the brass did kind of become a little bit overpowering, especially in Charlotte's Célèbre scene in the second act, but that's a small price to pay for what is otherwise exciting and wonderfully gorgeous orchestra engagement. And speaking of the chorus and the orchestra of the Deutsche Oper Berlin, they were absolutely brilliant. It was not only the orchestra that played so brilliantly, but the children's chorus managed to melt my heart, mind, and soul, all thanks to their clear, silvery, and clarion voices that managed to be thoroughly sweet and listenable, as well as charming. With this particular concert version of Massenet's Werther at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, it was a uniform effort in the best possible way from all of the singers who embodied their respective roles. Jonathan Tetelman and Aigul Akhmetshina were at their absolute prime as the doomed and tragic lovers. Dean Murphy sung up a storm as Albert, and Lilith Daftian also stole the show with her clear clarion and silvery light lyric soprano voice as Sophie. And my goodness, it was such a beautifully uniform effort all around. Everybody sang so wonderfully. And I have to salute each and every one of them for what they were all able to accomplish as singing actors. And for those of you who caught this concert version of Massenet's Werther at the Deutsche Oper Berlin, what did you think of it? Did you feel that Jonathan Tetelman was absolutely brilliant and charismatic as Werther? Was there another singer who stole his thunder, whether it was Aigul Akhmetshina's gorgeous Charlotte, Lilith Daftian's charming and sweet Sophie, or Dean Murphy's charismatic and handsome Albert? Or did you feel like the singing was not really to your liking? Please let me know in the comments below. Well, that's it for my review of Massenet's Werther at the Deutsche Oper Berlin. Tune in next time for another review. So until then, good night everybody and have a blessed summer season.